Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to today's video, which is all going to be about Croesus and how you fight Croesus. So first up, I want to say it right now, I'm not going to be able to beat Croesus by myself, so this is actually just going to be like how-to. The how-to is really not that hard, but from my experience yesterday and seeing people play it, it is definitely something that needs to kind of be addressed. So number one, you're going to want to have super restores on you, at least. And you want to have your best in slot tools that you have. So if you have any tools that, have perks on them, such as like I have my Pickaxe of Earth and Song that is augmented, I definitely want to have that. I should have a dragon, I should have the Crystal Hatchet, but for whatever reason I don't have it made. I think I'm just too lazy to get to 4,000. So that's one thing. And I still am using the Fish Rod O-Matic. Again, it's one of those things where I'm kind of too lazy. But this is not a very hard boss, but this is one that does require at least 4 people in order to beat it. And when I get into it, you'll see why, you need at least 4 people. But there is actually a few other things too that kind of make the Croesus fight a lot easier. First up, you're going to want to actually be wearing your Pontifex ring. So I say this because it is actually true. You do want to wear your Pontifex ring. It is going to be a very big deal. Woohoo! I did not notice that guy before, but apparently Sarador is here. But yeah, anyway, you definitely want to have your best in slot stuff. You definitely want to have your Pontifex Shadow Ring. And you want to have it equipped because if you get it charged up with the 1,000 anima, which is something you can actually do outside of the boss fight, and I'll show you how to actually do that. You actually have access to a whole lot of bosses. So, now, how you get access to doing the charging of the Pontifex ring, and I'll show you, there's 4 different zones you can go to. I feel like this is how you get to the one, but I feel like maybe I'm wrong. Because, of course, that gate is blocked off. But I know of at least 2 of them, so I'll show you the 2 that are there. The other 2, I'm just not too sure. I think you might go out around the side here. But, okay, no, you don't have to go around the side. You just go straight up and see you got your wood cutting one right here. And you have the fishing one right here. So these are good fishing and wood cutting spots to go to. But yeah, the Pontifex ring, it lowers the damage he does to your skills. If you have it charged. And this is actually something you want to do regardless. Because, okay, now see, I'm in this here area. This is for mining. If you go here and if you start mining this stuff, you're going to get what is called the calcified fungus and stuff like that. Which this kind of stuff is actually useful for making the different types of equipment as is. But even more importantly, you're going to need this kind of stuff going into the fight. So I would actually encourage, if you're going to be doing a group of 4 seed right now, I got the Resident Anima of Bic and an Elder Trove Bic Tier 1. Now you can get higher tiers all the way up to Tier 3, but that is done through different types of unlocks. But as you get this calcified, and if you ever see a plume, a light bloom plume coming off of these things, go to that plume because that plume is going to give you a enriched version of that. And you definitely want to get the enriched ones. So now, one thing, like right there is one for me that is enriched. I don't know if it is for everybody else, but it's definitely enriched for me. Okay, it's enriched for everybody, apparently. So right now, I just got one of the enriched calcified fungus, which right now, these things don't trade for much. They will in time, because this boss is going to be kind of a big news as time goes on, because a lot of his pieces, you need a lot of fungus shards, much like the other fungus outfits. You need a lot of those kind of things. Now, I know one thing some people would be thinking, well, what if I want to bank this stuff and I don't have, you know, the Grace of the Alps? So that's actually okay. I'm going to be showing you guys that. But you definitely want to have these. And you want to have, I want to say at least 15 of these before you go in. So if you have 15 people, or if you have 4 people in your party minimum, you want each of them to get 15 of one of the respective things. Because that is actually going to see, yeah, if you go into here, you can open this, and then you can kind of,
we can stop Croesus before it grows too strong.
You can kind of deposit stuff from within here. So you can do that, and bam, bam. Now, I didn't need to deposit all of those, but I did deposit all of those, so that's kind of an issue for me.
First, remove the fungus from the fallen beasts at
Yes.
the far reaches
See right there?
graveyard. Then, take what you gather
I
there
now
and restore the statues of the heroes commemorated nearby.
I now did that. But let's get 15 of these, and then I will show you guys why you guys want 15. Because part of the fight is that you want to restore those statues. Which, you need this stuff in order to restore those statues. So you do need decalcified, you do need the, you know, the, I forget what these are called here, but it's, you need the different types of lumber, the algae, you need all that stuff. So you need the timber, you need everything. So we're going to get 15 of these, and then we're going to head in. Now, in order, and I would say probably 5 super restores would be sufficient enough for an actual battle with Croesus if everybody knows the fight. It's really not that bad. It's just the point of people need to know the fight. So right there will be 5, right here will be 5, right here will be 5. So we'll put that ring there. I always do that whenever I'm trying to get like a certain limit of stuff. I'll put a item there. This way I know not to go past that. And I know it might seem silly to do this before going into the boss fight, but whenever I get into the boss fight and show you guys what to do and what not to do, you're going to kind of see why. And I hate to say this, but for people who have slower internet, this boss might not be the best bet for you. You'll see why in a little bit, because there's a lot of time things. You know, eventually, yeah, it won't be a big deal because all the animations and stuff will be rendered in. But it's something to kind of keep in mind. You have to have all those things in it. Now, as far as like your equipment goes, you do want to have, you know, like I said, you want to have your best in slot skilling kind of stuff. So for me right now, I have a lot of mining stuff on me right now. This is actually true too, and I didn't even think about this, but this would be a good time to have, you know, like let's say you have one of the skill capes, one of the expert skill capes. By that, I mean like the one where you can put 2 capes in it, or if you have the master skill cape, well, the master cape, where you can put a bunch of different capes into it. This would be the time to use those. Because then you could have multiple capes put into one character, and it's less, you have to swap in and out. And it'll make you more beneficial to your team. And I know that's kind of a point blank, you know, the obvious answer, but it's true. It's going to make you a lot more viable to a team, and a lot more people are going to want to have you on their team if you have all the required items. Now, as far as like, you know, the drops go, like I said, have have the Pontifex Shadow Ring, and if you have the archaeology level for it, let that be one of your things for it right there. Okay, I have enough of the calcified fungus. So after you have enough of at least one of these things, like right there's that plume I was talking about, make sure whenever we get into this public one here. Now, as long as nobody's in here in the public one, I'm not actually. I'm going to start it by myself.
Good, you're there. Perhaps
and I'm actually.
Before it grows too
I'm just going
strong.
to explain
First,
things without actually
remove
getting
the
too much
fungus
into it
from the
first.
fallen beasts at the far reaches of the graveyard.
So,
then,
whenever
what you
Gorvik
gather
is
there
done
and
talking,
restore the
we'll
statues of the
kind of get
heroes
into it a little bit
commemorated
more.
Nearby. This will
But
rekindle their spirits for an instant and weaken Croesus so it may be attacked directly.
he talks too much. But okay, so for this battle, you'll see the 4 different beasts in the sides here. Right here, you actually have Raxor or Raxite, one of the two. Personally, I don't think this boss could actually... Well, actually it could. Because if you're not a skiller, this boss would absolutely destroy you. And I highly doubt Raxor is a skiller. But anyway, so this one is the timber fungus. So you're going to need timber. And honestly, at this point, your whole goal is going to be to try to get as much of each one as possible. Now, as far as the different things around here, when you are going through this section right here, unless you have double surge to get you across completely, because if you have one surge, it'll take you about halfway. But right now it's not doing anything because I didn't actually initiate the fight. But if you don't have double surge, you want to go in a path that has no mushroom. So right here, as you can see where my mouse is going, that is the path I would take for this. There's no mushroom. Because as you step on each one of these fungus pieces, mushroom pieces, it does 10 damage to all your skills. So that's something to absolutely kind of keep in mind. You do not want to step in these. Now there's another part. Obviously you want to always get the plume part. That'll actually give you the best result for the calcified or the timber and stuff like that. That's something you want to do. And then there's also these statues. Those will come into play here in a little bit. But now as you're going across here, you'll notice that some of these don't have a plume and some of them do. If you were crossing when the boss battle is going, because if I cross now, as you can see, it doesn't really matter. Now if I was doing that during the boss fight, I would be taking some pretty heavy damage from the boss. And by damage, I mean my stats would be lowered. So, now that that's all said, this is the stuff that you kind of got to keep in mind. Because this is a boss where you kind of got to keep moving. So if you are somebody with lag, that's actually going to be kind of a problem. And I actually do mean that. Lag is going to be kind of an issue for anybody who does this. Now to start this fight, if you have enough people, like I said, you're going to need at least 4 people. I'm going to try to show you guys. I don't know if it's actually going to be able to appear by the time I really actually get this going. Because I don't know if he's going to knock me out before I get the chance. If I get to solo him, I'd be impressed. Because it's kind of impossible. But eventually he'll have 4 fungus pods that'll grow right here. And you want to have 1 person per section. So do not, and I swear this, do not team up in sections. If you see somebody in a section, go to the previous section or to the next section. Do not stick in the same area. Because those pods boost his power. And once he gets to 100% power, it's game over. Now the reason why these are very useful and you're going to want them is for the statues. So right now, okay, that one takes fungal spores and algae. So if I go this way, like I said, I have to take these. If I don't take these, okay, so there's his one attack. If you stand in that smoke too long, you will start to take skill point damage. So that one actually took the calcified. Usually it's not the one that you are at. So he will do attacks that will stun you, and he will do attacks that grip you, and you want to avoid that mushroom especially. Just kind of do a little bit of a circle around, you should be fine. If you see smoke appearing beneath you, you want to get out of that as soon as possible. Much like that. You do not want to ever go back into a zone. Because not only can these things kind of give you rot. So there he stunned me. I can... There's things I can do to get out of that. There's the one where if you don't get out of it soon enough, you get stuck. For whatever reason, I was stuck in that. But that also feeds into his power. And I cannot remove the sticky fungus when it is actually on me. So that's something that's actually kind of important to keep in mind. You can't remove that. So there's that dirt one again. I soon have 15. Okay, I have 15. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to navigate through this. And I want to navigate it so I don't touch any of the mushrooms. So we got 15 of that. So now the goal is to get 15 of this one. So, let's equip my fishing rod. Okay, he was getting ready to do something, that's why I moved. You can kind of, if you have the display settings for it, you can kind of watch his shadow.
Quickly, remove the fungus at Croesus' base.
Okay, this is the one thing I was talking about. You gotta remove those things at his feet, and yeah. So you guys seen it? I couldn't quite get to it in time. Does that mean there's another person in there? I think, I don't know. There's not another person in there. But, those little mushrooms right there, as you've seen right in the top left here, that orange bar greatly filled whenever that those actually popped and they went into him.
It's
so
over.
You,
Run if you value your life.
You kind of have to make sure they don't pop. That's just one of the things you have to make sure of. You don't want those to pop with you in it. And whenever, like I said, whenever he gets to 100% like that, that means you lost. Obviously, like I said, I wasn't going to be able to get 100%. I don't know why that didn't take any of those. Oh, I know why it didn't take any of those, because I actually didn't have it put into my number 1 slot. So I wasn't actually restoring any of my thing. Because if I do that, yeah. I don't know if it's been fixed ever since, but we're going to test it right now. That if you hotbar a potion like that, I think it's supposed to take whatever potion of that type and you keep sipping. But I don't know if they did it to the point of where it will take from the highest dose. So we're going to try it. Yeah, it does take from the highest dose. So you want to have that in your hotbar. This way you can just strike one key. You don't have to keep clicking. You don't have to point and find it with your mouse. Ooh, excuse me, with your mouse. And that's actually all it is. And then once you get the statues built, and then the bosses are completely good, and well, the corner creatures are completely good, then you can go to him, and then you can mine away at his core, because then he is stunned, and then you get to finish off the boss. That's all it is to the boss. It's not an overly complex boss, but it's one where you have to have all 4 people working together. And of course, like I said, if somebody gets stuck in those little fungal pits, it's important to actually, you know, try to keep an eye on your teammates. Have maybe at least 1 to 2 people running around making sure the teammates are okay while the other ones are actually gathering. Because if you have 4 people gathering, working at the bosses and rebuilding the statues, then you can have, 2 people running around making sure if anybody gets stuck, like I did there for a little bit. I'm not sure why I got stuck, but if somebody gets stuck, then they can actually get the person unstuck. So these are the things you actually want to do. Otherwise, it's not a hard fight. And if you want to have everybody select a starting area, you just right-click on Gorvik in the beginning, have everybody go to the respective areas, because you don't actually have to walk all the way to certain areas, but have everybody start at a respective area. And then just maybe have the one runner over here and one runner over here. And they should be trying to run, and they want to have both super energy and super restores on them, because, or you want to have the perk that makes it so your run energy never goes down. Because what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to keep running while these people, your 4 other teammates are actually doing that. Because honestly, guys, it's not hard. And that's all you have to do. And this fight can take very, very little time. But at the end of the day, the main thing you want to have, and this is the reason why I have the mining outfit, the last part of Croesus, when you're going for his core, you are mining. I would, normally I do say, keep your best outfit on at all times. But I would say mining is actually the best thing for it. But yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's all I can really explain to you guys, because that's the major things to it. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps at least get people into groups for those who want to do this fight. But that'll actually be it for this video, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later, guys.